Hey guys, welcome to the Below the Surface podcast. I met Clarke, I don't know, 4 years ago, I think, doing work for him in his restaurants and kind of built a relationship outside of that. And talking about that, it's kind of funny. I was talking to Maria about that too. It's kind of funny how friendships develop.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that a lot over the years. Like you really don't even have to hang out or do anything, but you still have some kind of friendship there.
Yeah,
And that's how I feel about you.
it's connection.
It is. It's a good connection, man. But
Yeah,
anybody that knows Clarke, man, Clarke's built some very successful restaurants in the area. We're sitting in beautiful Prime Bistro right now. He has Circa, he has Dank Burrito, Merrell Estates,
yep.
which is a beautiful wedding venue, event center. We actually had our Christmas party back there.
Yeah, thank you.
In December, so had a great time. But what's going on, man? What's new?
What is new? We also have the Beaufort Olive Oil Company. You don't service that?
No, we don't.
Yeah, so that's our retail store. We have
Okay.
one in Emerald Isle. We have one in Beaufort, and we have one in Moorhead.
Awesome.
So we do oils and vinegars and specialty provisions.
I think I do remember that now.
It takes like a mediocre home cook. It kind of elevates their game a little bit.
Is that the ones you give out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gifts we give here. That's
Yep.
right. But what's new? I mean, I get asked that a lot because people kind of joke with me because it seems like every time you turn around, there's a new project, something going on, and it has been pretty accurate, man. Like, I opened Circa in 2010,
Right.
and that was my first restaurant. I was 28, and I think every year since 2010, I've had a project, big or small, going on, and I kind of feel like right now we are in the middle of it. It's like, have you ever seen that sayings? Be careful what you wish or pray for because you just might get it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, remember you prayed for this moment of being busy and all like the things and the family, and I feel like we're there, like we're in the spot where I need to really just kind of step back for a second and analyze and just kind of strategize like what we have going on.
Right.
So, in December we opened a private dining room at Circa,
Mhm.
so we can accommodate like 30 extra folks now.
Okay.
We can do like private parties and bridal luncheons and baby showers, stuff like that. So that opened in December. So that was kind of our last like thing. Right now, I'm just, and that wasn't even that long ago. I mean, we're sitting here in March.
Right.
So, we had a big snow this winter. So it was just, I think me and the teams, we're just kind of working on ourselves and our systems and just kind of digging through what's going on and getting ready for the summer.
Correct.
At this stage in the game, man, it just seems like, and you could probably agree with me here, like every year just seems like it just speeds up.
It does.
Right? Like a week isn't really a week.
No.
Right? Like some people are like, oh, my birthday's in like a month. It's so far away. And I'm like, no, that's like 20 minutes. Right? Like it goes by because as a business owner, your days are already kind of planned out for you. Right? Like, and, people are like, you work a lot. I do work a lot, but so it's kind of opposite, right? Like I have to plan to take time off. I don't like schedule my work. Like, right? Like it's always work unless I
Right.
decide to not work. It's not when do I work. It's like always there.
Right.
So, it's just kind of sifting through all that, but so nothing really big or earth shattering, on the horizon. I mean, we're franchising Dank Burrito. We're still kind of pushing that ball, but we're in the day, right, where Trump's blowing up Iran right now, so things have just diesel's at $5.39, right? So this is going to be documented, so we all kind of know where we're at.
Right.
That's where we're at. So I think just everybody's kind of in this state of like wait and see.
Yep.
Right. So hopefully it doesn't affect our summer business because that's important for us here at the beach.
Absolutely.
So we're just trying to prepare. Not for the worst, but prepare for a little bit of a pullback and hope that we don't see it.
Right.
And that's kind of where we're at right now.
And it's funny that you touched on how your schedule is when you run a business.
Yeah.
You don't really schedule your days off. If you work and then you kind of just you plug things in as you can.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Regular employee, regular people that work in a business don't understand their schedule and their vacation time off.
That's right.
and we're actually in the same season as you. I've actually stepped back a whole lot in the last 3 months. Which is a big change, and we talked about that in a past podcast. The struggle of having to constantly change as a business owner your roles.
That's right,
and that's tough because you go from one extreme to another extreme to another extreme, and every season's different too.
Season's different.
Dank Burrito.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? Like, because everybody's seeing it blow up. Everybody I talk to says Dank Burrito, Dank Burrito. So
so Dank's interesting, man. Like Dank is, I'll be honest with you, man. It's Dank as a brand is awesome, man. It's really cool, and I'm really proud of what we've done with Dank Burrito. And Robert McGinnis is my director of operations, and he is my best friend first, right? Like, we're buddies, man. We go back almost 20 years now, and we've done a lot of stuff together. And he's done a great job, like, growing and navigating Dank Burrito and working just right beside me, growing that thing. But man, like, Dank Burrito is a unique thing, man. It's hard, and the journey and the path has not been as linear as I would hope to be.
Right.
Like, people who trade the stock market or read like charts, right? Like, you got green candles and red candles. Like, green we're up, red we're down. Like, it's been a little bit of a red candle minute, man. Like,
right.
And it's the margins are so tight, right? And like, the word dank, right, is representative of just high quality. Apply it to what you want: pot, food, whatever. I don't care. But we take the high quality part of dank and like we associate it with our food. So here we are as a brand saying, this is our stand, right? We want high quality, right? Like, Dank Burrito doesn't have a microwave,
right?
Go find me another restaurant that doesn't have a microwave,
right?
It doesn't.
They don't exist. No,
and we barely need a freezer. If the food distributors would have smaller pack sizes and I could buy fresh, like, I wouldn't need a freezer because we just don't. But I don't blow through 50 pounds of ground beef that fast. So I need to freeze it or I'm going to lose it, right? But so we've taken this idea of like, we want this really high quality, which when Dank Burrito started in the food truck, we were literally buying the same food, the same raw material for the Dank Burrito truck as I was for Circa and that we do for Prime, right? Like, Prime, we're $110 a head, price point average, like,
right.
High-end steakhouse. That's us. And then you got Circa, who hits about $60 a head. Then you got Dank that hits $15 a head.
Right.
We're buying the same tomatoes. We're buying the same beef. We're buying the same, like, so our margins, everything gets squeezed. So we have to be a lot sharper and crisper and more accurate.
Correct.
On the Dank level, because if not, there's a lot of room for like waste. And, I think people really kind of think that because Dank is fast casual and just counter service, you don't have a waitress, that it automatically like takes it down a level, the experience level down. So you can't charge as much. So like, honestly, like, the food and the skill and everything that we put into a burrito, they should be $20 a piece just because. But because it's wrapped up in a tortilla, the effective like visual, like the price people are willing to pay is less. So
right.
That's like the headwinds that Dank Burrito faces. So it's like our margins are super small. So we have to be extremely consistent all the time. We have to be really accurate. And I feel like our customer, because the price point is a little bit lower than, let's say, Circa or Prime, man, like, we just really kind of open ourselves up to like, I don't know, just like criticism. A lot of like people can get really like stupid. And it's just mean for no reason. And you like, man, this happens all the time. We have a store in Raleigh, and people will order like DoorDash, and we'll fulfill it. It'll be perfect. Everything will be perfect, and we'll get a chargeback. They'll say, "Oh, they didn't give me my queso." They'll call DoorDash, and they're lying. It's
right.
not accurate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So then we get charged back. So we had to pay to put that food out. We had to pay the DoorDash drivers and all the fees and all that crap, and then they back charge us because these people are ghetto or whatever, for lack of better terms, and they just anyway, it sucks, man. You know what I'm saying? So you work your ass off and build this business and this brand, and you just get hit with all these like little silly things.
Yeah.
But we're still grooving and coaching and training, and it's been really cool. Dank Burrito has come a long way. I mean, we started in a food truck in 2014, right? And we opened up our brick and mortar in 2015, and then we opened up Raleigh right before COVID. That like kind of kicked us in the knee, and then we had to kind of come back from that. We have Greenville open now, Rock Hill, and we're opening a few more. But there was this big like surge, and then we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot more about like what it looks like to get these dinks open. We've learned a lot about the markets that we should be in. And I'll tell you one big thing that I think my biggest lesson that I've learned at Dank Burrito in the last, let's just say like 12 months is at first when we were launching, when you have a business plan or you're putting together like a pro forma, you're putting together like all these numbers, right? And it's all theory. It's theoretical, right?
Right.
In theoretically, if we do, right, like we average $10 a head, we do, 200 people a day, like $10,000, whatever the math is, right? But like you got to bring in those 200 people. You gotta do the thing to make that thing happen. One of the biggest lessons I learned is our Moorhead store in Moorhead. I kind of underestimated the power of what we have built and the brand we built in Moorhead. And I say that because, when we're moving into these bigger markets, I just thought surely because we were in a bigger market, we would like, let's just say double our sales, right? So like when we're building out or when we're looking for lease space and we're looking for everything to kind of put this pro forma together to do these stores, they were all based off of a bigger store volume than what we're doing in Moorhead. And I realized that like we have built a pretty cool brand in Moorhead. And when you start looking at like average unit volumes for like industries and sectors in food space, Dank Burrito is on the higher side of the averages on all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, and and it's interesting because Dank is a young brand, right? Like I can't compare myself to a Chipotle. Like right. They got 3,000 stores plus, right? And they're, I think their average unit volume is like over $3 million, right? So like that's amazing. Like we have to work to get there, and just because we open up in a Charlotte, or we open up in a Raleigh, or we open up in a Charleston or somewhere like that, like we don't automatically like get to fall into that bucket. We got to work our way there. And but as you're building these pro formas and you're putting these business plans together, like for me, it was easy to say, well, in Moorhead, if we're doing $1.6 million, surely in Charlotte we should be able to do $2 million.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't seem that far away.
Right.
But it's you got to get into the market. You got to prove yourself. You got to work your tail off and let folks know that you're there. You got to be consistent in the food and the products we bring to market. And I thought that it would be a little easier. And it's not in the sense of hard work or not hard work, but just like, I felt like we had our stuff put together and figured out, and we just had to show up and do the thing, and it would work. Well, that's not always the case.
Correct.
And it's not necessarily something wrong with our system or the system. It's a lot of time, man, it's just like time on task, right? Like I tell folks, like, you just can't plant an apple seed and want apples like 6 months later.
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's got to grow. It's got to mature. It's got to breathe and live. And one day, maybe year 2, year 3, you get this beautiful fruit, but it doesn't happen right away. And as a new business owner in any sector of any business, you got to be ready for that.
Yeah. And I think that's why most people feel, right? They don't want to see it through.
Well, sometimes, what I'm learning too is like just being underfunded is like a real thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I think people want to invest, and then they have to have that investment like immediately start working for them. Right. So like, and things don't always happen that way.
Right.
So, but again, we've learned a lot in the last 12 months, and it's really kind of shaping up to like, what does our franchisees look like? What locations, would fit us better. And it's interesting because it's like, everybody's like, Dang would crush it in college towns. Well, we're in ECU and we do okay up there. I mean, it's growing, but I think, Sup Dogs kills it. Right. But like Sup Dogs have been in Greenville forever.
Right.
Right. Like they've paid their dues. They put their time in. They've worked it. Right. They've done it. So, it's about establishing yourself. So it's really trying to like understand like, who and what Dank is as we continue to evolve and grow. And it's all part of it, man. It's growth, and any chart is not a straight line.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Yeah. So, but I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, they don't. I got a million questions to ask off what we just talked about.
Yeah, man.
So I think the first thing that really intrigued me about you when I first met you was, for one, you're ahead of me in a way because you started Circa in 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I literally think I met you in 2020. So you had Circa, you had the food truck,
Mm-hmm.
you just purchased the States. Well, a little bit out of like 2021 or something. Or,
I bought the States in December 31st of 2018. It was the last day of the year. I closed.
well, it was around there. It's like
Yeah.
you're really starting to get into
Mhm.
the States.
Yep.
You bought this, renovated this.
Yep.
So like you were just doing all these things at once that
Yeah.
I saw, and like to me that was just amazing. That's what I wanted to do, because when you met me, I was just starting out.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, just seeing you grind and taking all these risks, because that's kind of people I like to follow, and I think that's what makes successful people. It's just take these risks and, hey, this is what I want to do. Going back to Dank, do you think your experience in the more upscale casual dining that you have has really allowed you to be successful in Dank, to give you, that extra twist to it that like maybe Chipotle or somebody else is not giving it?
I don't know that I would credit it towards like more of a high end experience as more as like just a fusion chef experience.
Okay.
It's kind of like more discovery and exploratory.
Okay.
And it was about bringing food to the folks who, you have like traditional food, you got classic food, you got regional food, and at some point it's really fun to mash it all up. And I think Dank Burrito was kind of like this brainchild of a couple things. Number one, it's in 2014 when we launched the truck, there was no taco or burrito concept outside of your traditional Tex-Mex sit down Mexican restaurants. So, we like to say that, the taco shell or the burrito shell is just like the vehicle that your food, your ingredients are wrapped up in to eat it. So, and then we started kind of spanning off of that. I think if I was being completely honest, I think one of like the early inspirations for me was Laz and I had taken a trip to Key West, and there was a food cart down there. It was called Garbo's Grill, and they're really famous now. I think they've been on Food Network a bunch, but they were this little tiny. It wasn't a food truck. It was more like one of those New York City style, like two guys could fit inside a cart,
Okay.
but you couldn't move. And they had like a 6 or 8 item menu, and they were really cool. And I remember thinking like, this is really neat. This is like, they had a line around the block, like two guys in this little ass thing. I was like, this is cool. And I was like, and that was kind of like that's like where I think that was the original light bulb moment for me. And that was in like 2007. So I mean, it was like 6 or 7 years, or maybe
that light bulb went off before you.
Well, yeah, before I even took action. But I just remember thinking like that was really cool. But to be able to like bring different foods, and then her and I took a trip to with the kids to Jamaica, right? Like jerk chicken's so big down there, and like it's like what can we mash up and like put in a taco burrito? Like it doesn't have to be like ground beef and cilantro and chopped onions, like or whatever, like carne asada. Like it could be whatever, it just get it there, and that's what we've done today. I mean, if you look at our menu, it's so varied. I mean, it's we do like Euro tacos. We do Eastern North Carolina loves a shrimp burger, so we took the shrimp and the cocktail sauce and the slaw, put in a taco, and I think it eats better than a shrimp burger because it's not as bready.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like a pillowy bread, like hamburger bun. But I mean, all of that protein stuff crammed right in a taco shell is great. And so that's kind of like where that inspo kind of came from. It's interesting because everybody asks me like, what's your favorite restaurant? Where do you like to be? Where do you spend? They always ask, where do you spend the most time? So they want to know what I like the most. And it's like whatever needs my attention. But it's like so we have 4 restaurants right here in Moorhead because we also have Social Q, the barbecue restaurant, and it's like picking a favorite child, right? Like they all bring something different to the table, and having multiple restaurants right here on the main drag, like we're able to like cross utilize products and our resources, our people. It opens up like a little bit of a different playbook for catering, because sometimes I'll call a smokehouse. I'm like, hey, I need like X amount of pork because we got sliders menu at the estate.
Right.
Like, go ahead and smoke me some meat. Like, so we just have like a little more tools in the toolbox when we have the different brands right here. right? Like the newest for me is Prime, right? And the most upscale is Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And we've put a lot of thought into Prime, and Prime is very like intentional in nature. It's very consistent. My chef here is very consistent in everything he does. Like it doesn't waver very much. And then Circa started off in 2010. Like my vision for Circa was more of like this younger, trendy, New York stylish, like fun small plate restaurant. And it's gone through its different seasons
Right.
of change, and that's where that's for many years, 10 years or more. I was there in the kitchen, running the kitchen like every day,
Yeah.
even when I had these other concepts going on. And I mean, it wasn't until right after COVID where I hired like full-time chef and
Mm-hmm.
pulled myself out. Um, but Circa is definitely like more neighborhood in nature, and we see a lot of the same people like multiple times a week. And my staff has done a really good job of just connecting. It's just about the connection.
Right.
I mean, we have customers that go on vacation that bring my staff gifts back. That's pretty cool.
Hey,
You know what I mean? Like they're in Jamaica, they're in Spain, and they bring our team gifts. Hey, I thought you would like,
Yeah.
and the connection of Circa is really, really unique and different. I have a guy down there named Peter. Peter, I've known Peter since the mid '90s, and he's been a friend for a long time. He's about 10 years older than me, maybe 15, and he's kind of. I hired him to bus tables because we never really had the servers were responsible for busting their tables early on, but as Circa's grown, the needs have grown, and I hired him as a busser, and he has kind of turned into this like maitre d hosty. Like I think he's performed 4 or 5 Heimlich maneuvers, so he's like saved people. He's very sensitive and intuitive with like older folks.
Okay.
He's really good at like spotting like just kind of like inconsistencies in like just behavior. And what I mean by like, I mean we've had some old people like stand up too fast and they get lightheaded and like almost fall, and he's like there to grab them. Like we had one, I forget his name, but he's a large man. He's like 6'7", probably like 350 and older. So like he has to sit in a certain chair. He can't fit in a booth.
Right.
And Pete knows where he can sit. And when this guy goes to stand up and pushes off the table, Pete kind of goes over there and holds the table down, but doesn't let him know he's like. There's so many little things that Pete does, like
Right.
and like, people just love Pete. But like the connection at Circa with the teams, it's just different, man. It's just very, very different. And I'm sure there's other restaurants that have that relationship with their customers, but Circa's special like that, and that's kind of cool. And Social Q, Shanita runs Social Q for me. She's a warrior, man. She just battles hard. She doesn't back down from nothing. Her husband Matt helps me out a ton. He's retired military. He's just tough as nails too. He's a super solid guy. But she has gone through some like just some shit, man, medically, and just her daughter's husband's deployed, so she's like new grandma, and like the hours of the barbecue restaurant are all over the place. We're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but she may have a catering. We have a pit guy that does our cooks for us. Every now and then, people call out. She'll work all day and she'll cook all night. Dude, she's a tank, man.
Yeah.
We got some really good people that work on our teams. It's 'cause I can't do this shit by myself, man. Like I got 2 hands. Right, we got 4 restaurants. So I mean, we really rely on the teams to get this stuff done.
Well, that's what it is to every business, right? And I think a lot of people miss that. Most people miss that. It's their team around them. They're the ones actually. You're the builder. You're the mindset. You're the one that lays the structure and the processes of everything. But you have to have good people to take it from there.
Yep, that's right.
Like I tell my guys in my team all the time, it's like I'll go as far as y'all want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even. I couldn't handle what we have now by myself. So it's not what Jared really wants. I'm here to help you and assist you and get where everybody wants to go. But we have to come together as a team and on the same page exactly where everybody wants to go. And I've noticed that across all your restaurants is your staff. Well, for one thing, we eat here all the time, is the staff don't change.
Yeah.
It's consistent. I mean, the servers know our name.
Yeah.
Because they've seen it for the last 3 years.
That's right.
That's very special and it's unique. And I think a lot of people at restaurants miss that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, they'll focus on the management and stuff like that, but they kind of don't really focus on the server side of things,
Yeah.
the cooks, the bussers, the hostess. I mean, how important is a host in a restaurant? I mean, that's what they see right when you walk in the door.
That's what they say when you leave too.
So you can't slack on that hire.
That's right.
And how do you deal with hiring? Because, I'm in restaurants all the time, know a lot of restaurant people, and that's the number one complaint you get is I can't find good people.
That's right.
So how do you find your good people?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Liza is my wife, and she runs the estate on a high level. For the restaurants, she's mainly behind the scenes. She doesn't get a lot of credit from the public because they don't know her, which is it's okay with her. She doesn't care. We're not in competition with each other, but for so long, with me being the chef and the face of everything, and if anybody has studied kind of the EOS system, right? Like you got the visionary and the integrator or implementer, and that's kind of like where she's at. And we're very much a yin and yang when it comes to that. So kind of my, it's not a specialty. I don't know. It is what call it what you want, but I guess kind of my area of interest is the concept and putting the projects together and getting them off the ground. When you do that, then you got a business you got to run. I remember one day my dad told me, and my dad passed in 2020, but it was kind of in this growth phase. And he was like, you don't like running the businesses, you just like building them. And I was like, I stopped. It made me think a minute. I'm like, he's kind of right. Like, because once you build it, now you got to just pour into it forever and constant, and you got to nurture it. And I'm like, I want to go on to the next thing and do it again. Cause I really do like that. But, I'm a terrible interviewer, hire type person. Liza is who does that for me, my wife. And, she's pretty good at reading people. I'm just so bad at it, man. Cause this is where if you come to me and you want a job and I have a job opening, let's get to work. Like, what's there to talk about, right? Like, you tell me you're a cook, that kind of, and there's so many times where I'm like interviewing cooks and I'm like, we're sitting at a table and we're talking about cooking. There's no discovery here. Like, can you cook? Yeah, I can cook. We got to go to the kitchen. We got to get a pan in your hand. I got to see what you can do. Right. So like, I'm just not good at it. So she literally does all of that. We have 3 or 4 key hires that work in our business that I would have said no to that are killing it for me. And I have probably like 10 people that lasted that I hired like 2 days. I'm like, all right, well, my win ratio here is smoked. Like, I can't do this anymore. So Liza takes care of our hiring. She's pretty good at reading people. She's good at digging through the bullshit and the lies and the inconsistencies, and she'll call you out in a second. And that's, and I think one of the big things that I've learned throughout this, journey since 2010, really, and it's more so recently than when I first started, was stay in your lane. Like, and as you grow, your lane gets more defined.
Yes.
And my lane is not hiring, and
I'm not good at it either, bro.
Yeah, I'm so bad at it. And
wait, I think people like us take people for the word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because like to me, like like I'll have a conversation with people that don't work out.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation. A lot of times it's like, my bad, because if you tell me you can do something, I believe you, because I'm the type of person, I'm going to tell you I can do it, or I'm going to find out really quick how to do it, and you're never going to know the freaking difference.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to know I know how to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's where we mess up, because, like, again, if I tell you I can cook, I'm going to go in there and show you I can cook.
That's right.
Even if I got to go to YouTube before I come in here. Yeah. And I think a lot of people just oversell themselves. It's like, and I think it's more of a society thing now too, where people can skate by in life and didn't have responsibilities and duties and stuff. But
it's funny, man, you say that, because yesterday I had we're looking for a banquet chef, and I had like a application resume come through an email, and I'm reading it, and I thought this before, but I thought it again yesterday. I'm like, these resumes are just like, they're so full of shit. They're just so full of shit. And for a cook, they say the same damn thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick, dude.
Because they chat GPT it, brother.
Probably. But I mean, literally like the same, and it's so like ambiguous. Like there's no
Create
detail.
me a great resume for a line cook.
Right? Like dude, it is, God, professional summary, experienced kitchen manager and lead line cook with strong background in staff training, inventory management, and food safety compliance. Demonstrated leadership and mentoring teams, implementing cross-training programs, maintaining high standards and food quality and kitchen organization. Skilled at fostering positive work environments and ensuring efficient, compliant kitchen operations. Dude, that's bullshit. Like, I guarantee this dude can't even fucking balance a checkbook. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I'm just like,
Just say you can cook.
yeah, man. It's just, but they all say the exact kind of same thing, and then I get them in, and like I watch them like sneeze, and then I'll go wash their hands, or something stupid. I'm like, go wash your hands. Like, how can you lead anybody? You can't lead yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like
you better get deep.
I talk about this all the time. Management is a verb.
Yes.
Management is an action sport.
Yes.
It's not a title.
Not at
It's
all.
something you do. Like, and people don't realize it, but we manage our lives, whether we manage it poorly or we manage it really well. We get up in the morning, we shower, we shave, coffee, whatever you're doing. You manage to like get out of bed, whatever. So like that's life, and that's bare minimum. That's what we need to live and survive. And then like if you take a job as a manager, you got to be able to do all that and then this. It's not a title. Like it's not. I'm a manager, so I get paid X. Like you're thinking about the future, what's to come. You're thinking about like risk mitigation and liability and what's going to be needed in the next 2 day, next week, next month. Like when I got events, at Circa, we have a whole clipboard system in the back with all of our upcoming events. So for weeks, Liza posts that stuff up there. So, we know if we need to order something special for it. We need this special gluten-free bread for this bride, or, this bride wants this special type of protein or whatever. And everybody knows. And then, so when it comes time to execute, and if we don't have it, you can't say you didn't know. Like it's been up there forever. Like you got to manage your time. You got to manage your resources. You got to manage people. Man, it drives me crazy because people want to throw around the word manager or management, and 8 out of 10 people just don't have it, even if that's their title. And for somebody like us, that manager gets inserted probably prematurely just so we can buy a little bit of our time back.
Amen.
Right? And then sometimes like they just don't live up to it. And there's some great managers out there that really I have some.
Yeah.
But I have some folks that have come through that they're not managers.
Not
They
at
don't
all.
manager pay. They don't do manager work. They don't know what manager's a verb. It's an action word. You got to do it.
Yeah, they're just looking. A lot of people are just looking for the pay raise.
That's
and,
right.
And we deal with that a lot too. And I've made many mistakes of prematurely, because you see somebody that kind of gets your business and can do the daily tasks. You're like, hey, I'm going to promote you to manager so I can buy some time back.
Yeah.
And you make that mistake, and it happens. And that's probably one of the quickest lessons I had to learn. Was promoting people too prematurely.
Yeah.
And I actually had a guy that works in with us is the one that helped me with that. Yeah. Let's put them on a structured plan to get there. Yeah, we think they have the abilities. Let's make it like a 6-month or a year plan to slowly grow them into that role. Right. So that's kind of what we started doing, but you're exactly right. I tell people all the time, I can look at you and look at your life.
You can look in their car
until
if there's fucking McDonald's bags and Snickers wrappers and Coke bottles and cigarette packs that are 2-3 weeks old sitting down there.
Correct.
That's the manager you're getting.
Correct.
So.
I learned a tip from a guy one time, and the people at work laugh at me. But I actually do it. Is you go behind somebody in a bathroom, and there's piss on the seat.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I always clean up public. I mean,
I do
it's
too.
A habit. It's gross, but like I just
But I listened to it was on.
I don't know if there's truth to that, but like I remember Donnie Griggs. He's a pastor of the church. He talked about that one of us. This is years ago, but he was talking about like how he just can't help himself. He's in a public space and like leaving it better than you found it. Well,
it's small things of watching people. Like, and you can watch that with your employees. Do they walk by trash on the floor?
Yeah.
Did they pick it up?
Yep.
People at the grocery store, did they put the cart back? That is
Yeah,
the number
that's a
one
big
thing
one.
for me. Like, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Like I'm a firm believer of how you do everything is, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
Like how you sweep the floor. If you cut corners and sweeping the floor, you're going to cut corners elsewhere.
That's right.
And people have to learn that cutting corners don't get you nowhere. Eventually, you got to come back around that corner and clean up the mess that you caused when you try to cut that corner. And that's the biggest thing that we teach, man, is like, I think people just struggle with that because people really just don't know structure and they haven't been taught structure or haven't been around somebody that really has it. And I think a lot of times, and I think probably with you too, you can kind of come off intense sometimes just because we hold ourselves such to a higher standard. I'm not going to lower that for people around me either. I'm not going to do that.
I think it's important too to for accountability, for someone to hold someone else accountable. Because in those moments, I think that's where that BS kind of gets called out.
Correct.
Right. So I think it takes a strong manager or leader to be like, hey, you didn't sweep right. Do it again. It's not you got to kind of be indifferent about it. You're not mad. You're not being a dick. You're just being factual. Hey, you missed that. Go get it again. And then I think once you hold people accountable for a certain period of time, it's it inspect what you expect, right? You expect it, so you got to inspect it to make sure it's getting done. And then I think the inspections can kind of get pushed out once you start creating that expectation and that standard and that rapport with whoever's doing that task or that job, because then that they know what they're doing.
Correct.
Right? Like Matt here at Prime, he I don't have to tell him to clean his kitchen. He just does it. I mean, he's the chef. He drops his own fryer, he cleans his own hoods. But his shit's clean and it's tight and it's always ready to go.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't have to worry about that. And then if I do find something or flag something, I mean, he's on it, and he gets kind of beat up on himself because he's mad he missed it.
Yeah. And I think all employees should hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing I preach. I mean, in our business, man, we have the technicians on the road and I always say, we hire these people, we train them, and we hope they're doing what they're supposed to do when they get out there because, they don't have body cams on.
Yeah, they're away from your supervision.
So, it's up to dispatch and managers to hold the techs to certain responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I tell the dispatch and stuff all the time, is they're not going to change or do things the way you want them until you start holding them accountable.
Yeah.
We do pictures and videos and very detailed notes. Well, if that's not in the work order, you tell them to turn around and go back. I promise you, they do that a couple of times, they're going to start taking that picture and video before they leave because they're going to quit, turn around.
Yeah.
Or they'll quit.
Yeah.
Either way,
you're good.
You're good. Because he can't work here if he don't do that anyways.
Yeah.
So he's going to end up getting fired. So like you said, it's accountability, and I think a lot of people struggle with that because it's like you just said, it's like they don't even know how to hold themselves accountable. So how can they hold somebody else to, be responsible to do something? So I think that's our biggest struggle in business, man. It's there's so many moving pieces, and it's trying to, because you got so many management and so many employees, and you're just trying to get everybody to flow because everything is a flow like a machine, like a factory. If one person messes up, forgets to pack the box on the conveyor line, a package goes out wrong.
That's right.
But it could be 100 people on that line. That one person caused the whole thing to mess up.
That's right.
I'm big into sports, so I relate to sports all the time.
Same.
I mean, you can have the greatest football team in the world. You have one bad offensive lineman, you're not very good.
That's right.
So let's take it back a little bit. I want to go back to, how'd you get into all this? Where did you wanting to be a chef and cook and open up restaurants come from?
So my family moved down to the area from Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I was in second grade, and we moved down here because my family had purchased a restaurant over in Atlantic Beach on the island with my grandfather and another partner. And kind of fast forward through the process, my dad ended up buying the restaurant out and operating it. So I grew up in the restaurant, and our restaurant over on the beach burned down in '96.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the last week I was in 8th grade, and then we didn't reopen it until August after I graduated high school. So for those 4 years, it was gone. But during those 4 years, I had worked in restaurants in Emerald Isle, and I was still in the business. But from for like I don't know, like 7 or 8 years. Like I was just there all the time. Like every time my dad had a truck with dual exhaust. Every time I would hear the truck start up, I was like, in the summertime, I was like, even if I was asleep, I'd wake up and haul ass downstairs, jump in the truck.
Right.
I wanted to go, and so I just was around it, and it just made sense to me. And I graduated high school in 2000, and I didn't have any foreign languages that I was able to pass. I failed French and I failed Spanish. So ECU denied my letter.
Yeah.
I was like, screw you, ECU. So I was going to the community college to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. Right, you're supposed to go to college after high school.
That's what we were
That's what
taught
you think
back then. Yes.
So I went and got a Pell Grant. I think it was a couple $1,000. Went and bought speakers for my car and an amp. Like responsible kids do. Blew all that money. Supposed to buy books and shit. I was like, I don't need books. I did that for a couple years and there was just no traction. And I was like, man, like, what am I doing? And I had been cooking for my dad, working. I was like, I need to go to culinary school. Like, this just makes sense. I've been doing this, and I need to go learn more about it. So I moved down to West Palm Beach, Florida, South Florida. Did school, and then I came back. And so, I mean, I've literally always done a restaurant, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't have any memories of not. And it started young. I mean, there was definitely moments where like I was just like that annoying owner's son in the way.
Right.
But about 10 or 11, like I was on the schedule and shit. Like in the summertime, like busting tables, and if there was a dishwasher call out, like I was that guy.
Right.
Or even young. I started cooking about 12. Then I was annoying, probably in the way on the line, but the boys, the line cooks would tolerate me. Then I'd toast bread and just do shit and help them out.
Right.
But that was kind of like where it started. And I went to culinary school, then graduated and worked around a lot of restaurants. And I mean, so that's really where it kind of came from. But it's interesting, man, because like, it's like culinary art. So it's like, people consider it like of the arts. Like it's this artisan type food plating, cookery, all that. My mom is a crazy, incredible artist. My sister is a crazy, incredible baker.
Yes, she is.
And so like art runs in our family, and I don't really see myself as that side, but a lot of like folks in the restaurant business are like, especially chefs, they're chefs, and they kind of tend to lean more towards like music and arts and like the liberal side of
thing, for sure.
Like I'm chef, but I lean more to like entrepreneurship and like business and growth and leadership. And so like I don't play music. I don't understand how a guitar works, and I'm okay with that. And I'm not into like peace, love, and happiness and all that, like that stuff. That's not like, I'm like dollar cents, numbers, percentages, like gains, like that type of mindset. So I've always been fascinated with that, like just success. And as a kid, you just like, well, I mean, what's like every little kid's dream? I don't want to say every, but like nobody grows up and says, I want to be broke. So the opposite of that is, I want to be rich. I want to travel. I want this. Little boys want these. They're building these Bugatti Legos, and like these girls want these Barbie dream castles, and like everything's big and bigger than life, right? Like same with me. Like I used to watch, like when I was a kid, it was Robin Leach. It was like Lifestyles of Rich and Famous, and all these like MTV Cribs, and like, you're like, that's cool shit. I want that shit. Like cool, right? Like, oh, your blinds work off a remote. I want that. You know what I mean? You got an infinity pool. I want that. And like, so like, I just kind of always resonated with like that type of mindset and work. And I didn't really know how that was all going to play out. I mean, but I had the opportunity in 2010 when I was at 28 to open up Circa. I had worked for my dad for a couple of years. I'd saved some money, and Liza and I like real estate. I got my real estate license right after culinary school. I went and got my real estate agent, and then I got my broker. Now there's a provisional broker. So I was the last licensed group of real estate brokers before they switched the law to a provisional.
Okay.
I was like May or whatever year that was. And so I had to do the agent, and then I moved to Raleigh, and I ended up finishing my broker. So I was a real estate broker for a while. Because I felt like when I graduated culinary school, I was like used to that classroom format, and I wanted more school. I felt like I wanted to keep learning. So I've always loved restaurants and real estate. Those are like my two things, and construction. I really love construction too. Last night I went to church one Sunday. We were leaving church. I don't know why, but we had driven separate, and I was taking her back to her car, and I was like, I'm just gonna go run around and see what's up. This is in like 2010, and I drove by where Circa's at now. There's a for lease sign out there, and it was for the restaurant. It was like Sunday at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So I was surely expecting a call with a voicemail with a callback follow up on Monday, right? Like nobody answers on Sunday.
All right.
Well, they answered the phone, and this lady answered, and she's like, "Yeah, I can meet you up there in like 10 minutes." I was like,
Oh, wow.
I'll just sit right here and wait for you. So that happened. She came up, and like I walked into Circa, and it was ugly as shit. It was you know, and I'm not trying.
Like very 2000s.
It was, yeah. So it was an old seafood restaurant. It was just wasn't my jam. It was like salmon pink walls, deep sea blue, very 1993-ish in style. But I walked in and I walked into the kitchen and it was like set up, ready to go. Like hoods, coolers, walk-in freezer, like triple sinks, everything. Like it's just someone had just left. There wasn't any smallwares really, but it was fine. Plates, I mean everything was there. And I was like,
All this come with
does all this come with the lease? And he's like, yeah, it's all here. Like it's part of the deal. And I think my rent was like $2,000 back then, which I thought was like just dirt cheap, right? And I was like, this is cool. Especially it's like, so
perfect.
if I'm gonna
location.
invest, I just need to make it pretty because the stuff's here. And that's what happened. I ended up signing that lease. I was 28. I didn't even tell my dad. I told my dad after I signed the lease. I was like, come up here and look at this. I got any raise. Like he was so confused. He was so confused. And at that point in time, he had his leg amputated. He was an amputee at that point. So he got his leg amputated at 54, which was the year I got married in 2009. And he was so confused. He came up there and anyway, so I signed the lease. I was 27 when I signed the lease. I was 28 when we got open. But me and my dad and my brother renovated that spot. Put the bar in. We just, it was a big deal then. I look at it now, I'm like, that was pretty easy. But put the booths in, like built those little like knee walls at the entrance, built the bar, made it functional, painted it, that kind of stuff, and built those banquettes. And we got open in January 2010. So, when I opened in January 2010, it was pretty wild, man. It was wild. It was wild because if I would have written a business plan or had all my shit together, like and pitched a partner or an investor, they would have laughed me out the door because none of my shit was in order, man.
Right.
Like it was just I didn't even have a plan. My plan was this: don't fail. Figure it out.
Yep.
And it was literally like, okay, and this was like the skinny version. It was like, okay, the business sucks. I'm gonna cook. Liza can like hostess and wait tables, and my sister can wait tables, and like if that's like all I can afford to do. Our first liquor order, Liza put on her credit card. It was like $1,500, and I had about when I finished like all the construction and all the stuff, I had about $10,000 left in the bank, which wasn't shit. It was already spent by my first food truck order, and we did 2 nights of soft opening, and I had about 5 days of like employee payroll prep and everything to get ready to open, plus giving away 2 days worth of food and all the work. So I was basically negative when we opened the door with no money to even think about bailing myself out. I don't know what I was going to do if it didn't work. It was literally like chips in the middle of the table. I didn't even realize.
Well, that's why it worked, because you didn't have no choice.
I didn't even really realize it until I look back and think about it, how like crazy that move was. But we didn't have kids. We had just got married. I don't really have shit to lose. I mean, you know what I mean?
It was the worst thing you have,
Yeah,
right?
I go back to my dad still had his restaurant. Liza had a good job. That really kind of was a safety net in the back of my mind. Well, like if this shit doesn't work, this won't be like eating out the trash can, right?
We can at least eat, right?
Ramen noodles or something. But that I mean, Circa took off from day one. We had some pullbacks like in some off seasons, and it took we've definitely have grown. I think my first year of business we did like 2010 was like a little over 500K, and I thought that was a lot of money. But
What is it first?
And yeah, we've way surpassed that now. But that was kind of like where all that started. So I mean, I tell people the business picked me. I didn't really pick it, man.
Amen.
It just is like part of who I was and how I was, and it was like, at 28, like it's pretty young. I mean, to be like jumping into something like that, and did I have all the experience? I don't know. I learned a lot, and I continued to like be open, right? And I went early on when I first opened Circa. I went and did some like stages or like internships at some other restaurants just to get exposure and learn, right? Like I was just constantly like learning, and Liza's smart as crap too, right? So like, if anything that just didn't make sense, I had someone there to like talk to about it and like figure it out. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we like a lot of thrust, a lot of power to get that plane up. But like once we were kind of like climbing and like flying, I kind of I didn't want to say I got bored. Right? There's always something to do, but I was like, I wanted to do it again. And that was when we opened up our yogurt shop, which I had for 5 years and shut down. Didn't make a freaking dime. I think it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, we didn't make any money on that thing. I mean, we caught yogurt at the it was a fad, man. I don't remember Fuzzy Peach, all the things, Sweet Frog.
You don't even see them anymore.
Yeah, we caught that at the tail end, right? So market reversed on us, and we were like sitting there like, oh shit. And we went to Fuzzy Peach in Cape Carteret a couple days ago. My daughter wanted some yogurt. I remember when Froyo was like 19 cents an ounce, and then it went up to like 21. Fuzzy Peach is at 69 cents right now. So for like, and I told my son, he's like active and he can eat anything and he won't gain a pound. And they have their cups, and he usually makes this big ass. Like I'm like, dude, I was like, no, just like a few bites, like don't be stupid. Like, and that was kind of like all of us. Like we just had a little, like it wasn't nothing really. Like $32 for 4 cups of yogurt, and I mean they weren't like
gigantic cups of yogurt
by any means. Anyway, the industry's gotten a little bit sideways, but I've had projects that don't work, man. Everyone's like, everything you touch turns to gold. I'm like, bullshit. You just don't see the ones that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't hide them. I mean, the Twisted Spoon, it was a great concept. Everyone thought we were national branded, and that was kind of the goal, was to grow that way, right? Robert was instrumental in that with me, but like, it just came and then it left. I think everybody got excited. Just kind of like that virtual golf that popped up in Moorhead. The guy, like, he was there for 6 months and closed. Like, once you play virtual golf 1 or 2 times, like, you're good.
When it's hard to replace ice cream.
It's hard to replace ice cream.
I mean,
and our machines, man, they're always breaking down and shit. I feel like
those
Taylors are they're like old cars, man. Like compressor, beater, those beater blades, they're expensive shit.
They are.
So, I opened that and shut that down. I had a retail store in Beaufort that I opened and then I shut down. That you got to try. You got to put yourself out there, right? And I think for me, I feel like with my experience in hospitality and restaurants, at least the bet is like hedged on my side a little bit, because I like to think that I know a little bit about what I'm doing as opposed to going blindly into something.
Right.
But that's kind of like where Circa and all that stuff got started.
Yeah.
And then we've just kind of like grown from there. We ran Dank truck out of Circa for over a year, and it got to the point where our food deliveries inbound for Dank were just as big as Circa. And I was running out of room in that little cooler, and we were prepping for Circa, and I had a guy that was prepping for Dank in this little corner, and we just needed a space. But it was a great launch pad because I didn't have to take on any more debt or any kind of responsibility to make the truck happen. I paid cash for the truck. Me and my brother built that from scratch, so that was paid for when it hit the road. And then I didn't have to have a commissary or any of that. Like, we were our own self-contained commissary.
That's sweet.
And then early on, man, like, again, you got to manage the product, manage what you're doing, but like any kind of like overage, leftover, whatnot, we could pump through the Circa system. Like, I didn't have to sit on it. A lot of these food truck guys, man, they only operate on the weekends. And if they got 5 pounds of ground beef left at $4 a pound, right? That's $20. You're gonna freeze it, which you can. But if it's cooked, you're gonna eat it. That's profit. You can give it away. Now you're not making any money. Like, what are you gonna do with it? You're not open tomorrow. You're not open until next Friday. Like, you're gonna fold it into your next week's batch, and it's gonna be kind of suspect. Like, what do you do with it? So like we operated every day, so we had a way to like move.
Right.
I like to tell everything it's like a kitchen sink. Like all that shit has gotta go down that drain. Like everything in that sink, the funnel, right? Like nothing,
For sure.
nothing can come out. Like we make our money. I tell folks, I'm like, you think the Brinks truck driver just to like grab 100 off the stack because he's around it all day? Like I make my money with the food. Like don't touch the food. This is how I make money. This is how I pay you.
Right.
I don't have no fairy that fills in my bank account so I can pay your ass.
You
Right?
don't?
Like we sell food. That's all we do.
I thought you did.
Right?
Thought he flew in at night.
That's what they think.
There's something you said earlier, and I think like I've been around a lot of restaurant people because I've been in restaurants my whole life, just in a different way.
Yeah.
And so I've seen restaurants not be successful, and I've seen very successful restaurants, and like you're one of them. And it's really intriguing to watch people like you grow. And I think what you said earlier is the biggest difference is most time people that open restaurants are, they like to cook, they're cooks, and they're like artistic, and they like that side of it. Well, you like to cook too, but you're a business person. The business person really is what pushed you more probably than anything. And I think that's why you've been so successful, is because you have that business mindset, and me and you are just alike. We're builders, not operators. I actually said that in the last podcast that I struggled for so long because ProServe grew so fast that I got stuck as an operator for a long time, and I'm not a damn operator. I'm a builder. I want to keep going and building. So I think that's what's made you so successful, because you're a builder, so you keep wanting to build, but also you have the vision to see the niches of things, and like you just don't open a pizza joint, or you kind of figured out because everything that you have is something that's needed, like social Q.
Yeah.
There's nowhere around here to get good barbecue and brisket
Anymore. Yeah.
Steakhouse. There's nowhere around here. You have to go to freaking almost Raleigh to go sit down to a very, very nice steakhouse.
Yeah.
And then, the estates. I mean, like there's nothing like that around here. So like those things that you open, it has a purpose, and I think you thought it through.
Yeah.
And you seen that it was a need. It was more of like, this might not be exactly what I want to do. I might not want to be a freaking barbecue master, but we need a barbecue place here. And then the way you got the concept of a social Q, it's amazing, because you sell out a barbecue, you're closed.
Yeah.
You're done.
Right.
So like just watching you grow over since I've known you, man, it's been an inspiration to me. I've really enjoyed watching it. Because it's different, man, because you don't really see a lot of people in the restaurant industry that way. And I think that's why a lot of restaurant people get stuck, and you see them own one restaurant and don't go any further than that. And if you also have learned how to delegate and trust your team to where you can also have a life, enjoy your wife and your kids, and also do all this at the same time, which is the biggest goal, right?
Yeah, man. It's not always perfect. It's not always pretty. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that like comes to mind, one word, is like being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional is important. And it's hard, man. Like, cause there's like, as we both know, there's different levels of the game. That's like, what's the game or whatever you're playing, but like, there's different levels, and it's when you're in a certain level, and you're rising up, it gets harder and harder and harder, and you're like you see this ceiling, then you push through, and then all of a sudden that ceiling becomes your floor, right? And like as you push through in these levels and these intervals, like it's growth, and growth is very uncomfortable. I mean, you work out, like you go to the gym and you bust your ass and you tear your body down and you're sore the next day. You're like, I'm sore, but it feels good. You know what it took to get there, and your body is better for it, and you're gonna grow from this. Like, it's the same thing in life and anything else that you're doing. Like, it's hard, and not everybody's built for it, And,
absolutely.
And everybody's tolerance is a little bit different, and it comes and goes with like seasons of life, right? Like, I was checking with somebody the other day, and it was pretty extreme example, but I was like, I don't shit my pants anymore, right? Like, I'm not a kid. I'm not a child. Like, I've grown past that part in my life.
Right.
I'll probably be there again one day, or I'm shitting my pants. But like, I say that because like, change is important too, and like understanding like what's important. Yeah,
Absolutely.
in a business owner's life and journey, because I'm how old am I? 44. I'll be 45 in October. Like I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago at 34. My kids aren't the same age. My wants and needs and desires aren't the same. Like 10 years ago, like I was very much still in the mindset of like really chasing like culinary awards. Like it was important to me. That mattered to me. I could get two shits about that anymore. Like I just want like a good steady restaurant that's got a great business. I want teams that care. I want to give the best guest experience that we can give. Right? Like and they'll recognize it. My customers will reward me. You know what I mean? Like and there's two really good books that I really really love. One is from Danny Meyer. It's called Setting the Table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever read that,
Mm-mm.
but it's very much it's more restaurant focused, but any business, any industry, any sector can pull from it. He's kind of like the restaurateur of he's Mr. Like he's awesome.
Yeah.
There's some big restaurateurs in the country. He's probably one of the most famous by far, and great book. And then he had a like an understudy that worked for him for a long time that went on to have great restaurant success. His name was Will Guidara, and he wrote that book called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay.
So both of those books are they're great reads, man. There's so much to take away from them. But Setting the Table first, Unreasonable Hospitality second. But we read the book Unreasonable Hospitality here as a team, and when we first launched Prime, and like you said, we haven't had a lot of turnover in any of my restaurants. We've had people that graduated, grow, move on to different career things, but very, very, very seldom do they leave because I fired them or they got like, if you got a drinking problem, that's on you. And you'll probably weed yourself out anyway, or I'll fire you. But
Right.
like just like a good employee, they've been pretty consistent. But we started off here at Prime reading that as the team, and if you read it, I suggest reading it with a highlighter because there's so many good takeaways from that book that you'd want to like come back to, unless you want to read it a second time. But I definitely read it with a highlighter. But man, like the mindset of like unreasonable hospitality has really served us well here, and the concept is right, like in the hospitality space, like you have like true hospitality, and then you have like transaction. Right? Like if you go somewhere, wherever, name a restaurant or name a gas station or fast food, whatever, like and you buy something and then you get what you bought, like that's a transaction. No real hospitality was exchanged. But so like hospitality is like this notion of like getting something that you can't like pay for, like you can't, like it's a feeling. It's like when you come to Prime and we know your name and we know who your favorite server is, and we know where your favorite table is, and we know that you like three olives in your martini instead of one, right? Like that's like hospitality. That's the thing, you can't pay for that. Like that's
Right.
just right. Like, and that's kind of what this whole book talks about, is like how to go above and beyond to make these experiences memorable, because it's all about the experience. The experience is like how you're made to feel, right? Like a transaction is just a transaction. Like I'm giving you $1 for a service, boom. There's no experience there.
Right.
So like we really focus on like customer experience here, and we track like data on all of our customers. Like we have a computer and we print these chits, and when reservations come in and the guests arrive, we spit out the chits and we hand them to the server, so they kind of have like intel on the customer. Like Mrs. Lewis doesn't like onions in her salad, like so my server already knows that, right?
That's
so
cool.
like he just doesn't have to ask, or she doesn't have, so like we try to gather like birthdays and anniversaries in any restaurant are kind of like that's low hanging fruit. But when you can like get really like under the hood and really understand like what your customer likes, right? Like Mr. Johnson likes 4 splashes of bitters and not one. Like that makes his martini perfect for him. Like we want perfect for him. It might make it perfect for you, but perfect for him. So we want to like hit that, right? I keep here like these big black pashmina like wraps. So in the event like somebody gets cold, there's no, you got a lady that's in a sleeveless dress, she's dressed up real pretty, and she's sitting there at the table shivering. You know what I mean? Like I can fix that for her to give her a better experience, right? Like we have like purse hangers for the table, right? Like you got a $3,000 or $4,000 Louis Vuitton bag sitting on the floor. Like, no, like well, let's hang it from the table. Like, it's like little things like that that like create this experience. It didn't cost me anything, but it's just being intentional. It's being thoughtful. It's like they're just not here to eat a steak and get the hell out of here. Like, that's not what I want. I want them while they're here, while they picked us. And I talk about this at Dank and all of our stores. Like, when people eat with us, we won that day. Like, they could have gone to dinner anywhere.
There are a lot of
You
places.
could have drove to New Bern. You drove from New Bern to come eat here.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you passed Smithfield's and they passed, Chick-fil-A, and they passed and they landed at Dank. Like, we just won. We won. We won today's fight. Like, make sure that when they spend their money with us, that it's, they're glad that they did. That's just like some of the stuff that we kind of practice, but we talk about it. And I feel like one of the big things too is like a leader is you're forever coaching. It's never done.
No, never.
And as soon as you think that, like, it's done, like, because things evolve and change, but kind of going back, like what I was saying is that, you got to figure out what's important to you. And it's okay to change. It moves. Like I said, 10 years ago, my mindset from 34 to 44 is completely different. And I got to figure out what that looks like and how to implement it.
One thing I want to touch, and then we'll go on to my final question that I have for you. For one was, you're talking about all the small things, and that's what I preach. People underestimate the small things. They're always trying to hit a home run, and they're missing how all these small things add up that you do.
Yep.
Another good example that, like, I kind of compare you a lot to, in the way that you do certain things. Me and Maria love Charleston. We go to Charleston all the time.
Yeah.
Hollis Chop House is one of my favorite places to eat.
I've never been, but I know about it.
But they do the same thing. Once you're in their system, they know everything about you, what you like to eat, what you ordered last.
Yep.
And another cool thing that it blew my mind is about 2 days once you get home, you get a thank you card in the mail from the server.
Yeah.
Handwritten thank you card from the server.
That cool?
Like, it blew me away.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just stuff like that. Like, and if you do that, like, you can almost have your food can almost been bad.
Almost been bad. Yep.
And you get a thank you card in the mail.
Yeah.
You're going to go back you're going to go back.
And they reference your kids,
Oh, yeah.
Have a great birthday.
Yeah, like they remember
summer.
everything. Like, it's like they go around the corner and write down, like, stuff that you talked about, and they put it in the system, and then they put it in your thank you card.
Yep.
And, like, it's very simple, like, but a lot of people just don't think of that.
Small gestures.
And then another thing I see people fail in business that you do so well is in restaurant businesses. I think they don't focus on the team because in most restaurants, it's a revolving door. The team is a revolving door. So this person's going to be gone tomorrow. So they don't focus on that team atmosphere. So they don't get that feel. And I think that's where they miss, like, a restaurant is a business, and it should be treated like a business. And I think a lot of people make that mistake of treating it like a restaurant and not a business.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you do so very well. So my last question for you, well, more advice for people listening. What is the number one piece of advice that you could give somebody that owns and operates a restaurant to really make it grow and become popular and become, make money?
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty.
I know.
That's a big. There's not a package there, but I get asked, from time to time, like, what's the hardest thing in the restaurant business, and I would probably say consistency. And because anybody can do something great one time, but can you do it over and over and over and over again, right? And I think it's kind of like the consistency with the expectation kind of set your level of like where you're at, right? So, like, I'm sure you don't eat a lot of McDonald's. I don't ever eat McDonald's, but let's just use them for an example, right? Like, if you go to McDonald's and like, how often do you get a burger that looks like the burger on the commercial? Like, never, right? Like, how often is your order like accurate? Probably half the time. Like, so if you go through McDonald's and like you get your food and it's right and your fries are hot, like, that's a win. You're like pumped. If you go to McDonald's and like it's like warm fries and like they still got your burger right, like, it's fine. It's McDonald's. But if they totally blow it, like, you're not surprised, right? Like, it's McDonald's. Right. Like, so like their consistency bar to me is like pretty low. Like, I mean, even when it's good, it's not good.
Right.
So it's like, I think defining where you want to be and working to just uphold that position. It can't be volatile
Correct.
because the volatility is what creates confusion, right? And it's like, oh, are you fine dining or are you not? Like, do you polish your silverware? Do you not? Like, what are you clean? Do you have clean facilities? Do you like? It's just you got to define the bar and you got to hold it, and that's what's hard, right? Like I could sit there and hold this cup for like a minute, not heavy. If I'm holding it for an hour, this bitch is gonna get heavy. I didn't put anything else in here, but I've been holding it for an hour. Like so, when you got to hold that bar for years, like call shop
Mhm.
out, like it becomes heavy, right? But at the same time, you're conditioning that muscle. Like everything we do is a muscle. It's a giving muscle, a thinking muscle, a hospitality muscle. You gotta wear that muscle out, and that as that muscle grows, you get better in that. And I think another thing to be successful too is really kind of like knowing your numbers. I think for a long time, I, I operated very differently for a long, long time, where I didn't have all of my hard numbers like drilled down,
Mhm.
but I knew my numbers. I don't know if that makes sense. It
No,
was
that
like
makes total sense.
it's like a pilot flying by like visual flight
Mhm.
versus like instrument flight. And I don't like the weeds of the instrument. I like to read all of the data, but I don't like putting all that data together.
Right.
Show me the reports on a
I'll
high
dig
level,
into
but
it.
I don't want the weeds of that crap. And when we were a smaller team, it would have been me putting all that stuff together to just see the report. I just knew, like, I knew that if I bought this piece of steak for $5 and I sold it for $20, like, I had 25. That was 25% cost, and I'm whatever, right? And I was in the restaurants. I knew nobody was really stealing. I had to control waste. Again, I was managing waste, so like that's an action item. That's an action sport. I was managing. So, but I think like knowing your numbers, because in food, what sucks and it's kind of unjustly fair for us is that a lot of the stuff that we purchase is commodity based, so it's constantly moving up and down in price. I can't move my menu price to keep up with it. Last year, at the end of the summer, here at Prime, I was getting smoked with beef.
Mhm.
But you have like we work off of percentages, but then you have like what the market will pay. And I feel like Prime already kind of lives in the top of what the market will pay part. So if I'm always trying to keep up with a percentage basis, when beef doubles, I can't like double my steak price.
Right.
Right. So like what do I gotta do? Do I take it on the chin? Do I escalate it a couple percent to help offset some of that loss? And then when it comes back in the range, you're like, oh, it's good. But it's like it can be suffocating, right? Like so it's good to know like where you're at, or maybe you pull an item off the menu while things get extremely high. And you put on some chicken or pork and maybe some cheaper fish. And then when beef levels back out, you get back on with beef. But or you can say, hey, like, and this is where like I don't want to say integrity, but kind of integrity. Like, what's the compromise? Like, because there is lower quality products out there. Like we buy, and we can talk about beef forever, but there's a I think there's a little bit of confusion in the beef world because you have the grade of beef. Everybody here is like select or choice, CAB, prime. So you have that's your grade of beef. Your choice, select, prime. But then you have the quality of the animal. Nobody talks about the quality of the animal. So you can have like a shitty quality animal that grades out at prime. You see it a lot in
Mhm.
grocery stores.
Yep.
You're like, oh, I got a prime brisket at Costco. It's gonna be great. Well, that cow was 12 years old and like dying of cancer, right? Like that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like like CAB has a program where like it's 3-year-old animal, like everything is very regulated and modified and monitored and watched. So like if you get like a CAB prime, like you're best of the best really at that point.
Yep.
So like people aren't talking about so beef prices go up. Like, do you stick with what you got? Do you go down a level in grade? Maybe you can go down, like if you got a 10-ounce fillet, maybe you go down to a 7. Like there's some things to do to try to help offset that, but it's tough. But like knowing your numbers is really important,
Absolutely.
and also kind of knowing your product mix, right? Like we're gonna serve 100 customers tonight, and I know that like 30 of them are gonna get steaks, and maybe 30 are gonna get fish, and 30 are gonna get pork, and 10 are just gonna get salads. Like, and if you start seeing patterns, right, at certain times of the year, or people eating certain things, maybe you can like take off one and put on another. Maybe you tell your servers like, hey, you guys really push the duck confit tonight. We got a lot of it. I got a good margin in that. I need to move that. right? Like steaks will sell themselves. Let's push the pork.
Yep.
You know, so every day here at Prime we do pre-shift meetings. So it's like a 15-minute meeting with the staff to talk about quantities of things that we have limitations on, kind of state of what's going on. If there's any like VIPs coming in, like who they are, like where we want to sit them, who's going to take them, um, and hospitality goes both ways, right? Like we can have like whoever Mrs. Smith come in, her husband just died, and like maybe she wants to like sit in the corner by herself, and she doesn't want to be berated with everyone asking her how she's doing today because she's not doing great.
Right.
Right. So like it's important for us to know that so we can manage that. Or you got people that are on their first date, they don't want you telling jokes at their table. Get away. Let them fucking look at each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then we got like the old people that sit over here that
want to chat all day.
They want to chat all day.
Right.
So like it's kind of conditioning and training the team to like pick up on that, be intuitive to that.
And it's
don't have that one spiel that you use for everybody.
Right. And there's other things that I see that you do to offset things too, man. Like the special events you do here are amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff. And this is my last question, and I don't want you to make it quick because we could go very deep into this. Very deep into this. How do you tell somebody that doesn't have much experience with it or don't know how to handle criticism with the world we live in today with Google reviews, these Facebook pages that just blast these restaurants?
Uh-huh.
What's your advice on to handle those?
It's hard not to get beat up by it. I think that you have to. Some people just stay away from them altogether.
That's my advice.
But I think that's a little naive in some sense because we talk about like nuggets, right? Like in our world, like we listen to like you and I were talking before we went live, like podcasts we listen to, people who kind of like set certain paths that we kind of like subscribe to, and we got those guys, right? That like we they're in our ear all day in our podcast, or we're just the mindset is such a big thing. We can talk about mindset all day, and I think to just disregard it is a little reckless. Some people are just like, fuck that, they don't know what they're talking about. But I do think that like they don't know what they're talking about sometimes. It depends. Sometimes people are very like honest. Sometimes people are trying to be like spiteful or get revenge, or we had a bad review for somebody who never even came to the restaurant. They didn't like something we had on our online menu. They gave us that 1 star. So I think when you're reading online reviews as like a consumer, you got to like read through and take it with a grain of salt. But it's easy to like say, hey, we're going to Charleston's best restaurants. And right, like if someone shows up with like a 4.2 and everybody's like 4.6 or higher, you probably don't even look at the 4.2s.
Correct.
Right. But like, and it's like, do they have 100 reviews or do they have like 1,500 reviews? So like, I think the story is told more so like over time, but it sucks, man. Cause you definitely get some haters out there.
Oh,
right. Like, so like if for Dank, right. Like if we dispute a chargeback and win, that person's going right. Like people just don't care. They don't really, So we really kind of take the human element approach and try to reach out to folks and like, look, if you really got a problem, like, look, I don't want anybody's money who didn't have a good time with me. Like, take your money back. I'll give it to you. I'll buy you the next meal. It's not about that for me. Your one-time transaction at my restaurant isn't going to break me.
They're one-timers.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that one-time transaction isn't going to like make or break my rent, my bills, my anything.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather end and fix whatever the problem was. And I kind of like, and I've done this before, like and we're not perfect, we're people. So we do miss the mark sometimes. And I remember like early on, I did it a few times at Circa, like a customer didn't like something or like, so you have like in a review, you have like truth, and then you have like opinion. Like if you didn't like something because it was too spicy, like that's an opinion, right? Like if there's like a paperclip in your food, that's truth. Like, sorry, I don't know why it's there. You know what I mean? But like, just because you like, like if your food is supposed to be fried shrimp and it's like cold and soggy, that's like execution error. That's like truth. That's shit. But like, if you didn't like the breader I used, like, but it was hot and fresh out the fryer, like, what's your opinion? That's on you, right? So like, you gotta like understand like where they're coming from. But I've messed up before and I went straight to the table and they wanted to argue it, like they wanted to like split it, and I just like apologized and took complete ownership of it, and their head started spinning because they know what to do. They wanted me to like argue with them and defend my position. And I'm like, you're right, I messed it up. That shit was your steak was way the fuck overcooked. Sorry, I don't know how the hell that came out of your table like that. You know, you ordered a medium and it was definitely a mid well. Like, I'm sorry. They're like, oh well, shit. Like, and I'm like, look, and I'll tell them, I'm like, you came here to eat. I want to feed you. Like, can I recook this for you? And they're like, oh no. Like, yeah. And I'm like, well, let me give you a gift card. Like, come back. Like, I know you're like mine's not in it anymore. Like, come back, try me again. Like, I promise. Like, just give us another shot, right? Like, we were busy. Like, my cook called out. Like, had to take his daughter to the like doctor. Like, we're running ragged around here. Sorry. Like, we missed the mark.
Communication, right?
Yeah, I mean, and so I think that's kind of important with like reviews and stuff. Is just like, just read them if you want. We have management systems, like we have software that helps like monitor that stuff because, with franchisees and stuff, like it can start telling a story, right? Like if you see 2 or 3 come in within a 3 or 4 week period, 5 week period where your hostess was rude, or you maybe look into that, right? Like, if you get a one-off hostess was rude and it was busy that night, and that she's sweet as pie, like you'd be like, that doesn't sound like Katie. Let me look into this. But if Katie gets 5 in a row, you're like, yeah, what's going on, Katie? You don't have to pull her to the side and like rail her ass. You're like, what's going on? And you might find out that her aunt just got diagnosed with cancer or what. I don't know, whatever. Like she's having a rough time, or you know what I mean, or kid just got kicked out of daycare or something. I don't know. You don't know what's going on with these people's lives.
Yeah.
So like meeting them, like I like to use like the human element a lot. Like there's, we're all like this is a business, and one of the things that's been important for me to transform. I wasn't like this early on, but like because like I was like rah, 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 like off the beginning, like very like like draw a line, draw a line. But one of the reasons why I think we've been able to assemble and keep these teams the way we have is because, I want this to work for them. This is definitely like a marathon and not a sprint.
Right.
Like we don't bring in college kids to fill gaps. Like my teams work a little harder in the summertime to offset that extra busy. We don't bring in supplemental help. And they know that. So for 100 days, it's going to suck. They're going to make more money. They're going to work harder. But then that keeps you from having to hire temporary help or semi-temporary. And then they lose shifts in the off season. Because now I got to keep, like, I can't seesaw employees. Right. Like, so we're all going to work a little harder. Like, we're just going to expand and contract just a little bit. And, that's kind of how we run everything. But like, and I still will cover for some of my guys.
Oh, I know.
If like their daughter has a ballet they'll fucking miss that ballet. Like your kid's 3, like your daughter wants you there. Like I can step into the restaurant for 2 hours. Get back here when it's done. Like, don't take the fucking rest of the day off. But like, let's compromise here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you missing your kid's baseball game. Like Sunday, my chef at Circa, we close at 2. He gets out there about 2:30. Has to drive to New Bern. He lives in New Bern. He's like, hey, you think I can skate out of here a little bit early? My son's first baseball game starts at 3. And I was like, hit it, man, go. Like we weren't doing shit. Go. Like, what's the point? I could have been a dick and be like, nah, like you got to close down. I'm like, no, man, like. Family's important.
That's how you build culture.
You know what I mean? Well, you can't. It's got to be give and take. These people are people, right? They got families, and like we gotta understand we have a business and we got a job and we have a job to do and a business to run. But at the same time, like I've you attract more with honey than you do with vinegar. You know what I'm saying? So like, and there's moments where we can't flex,
right?
And that's okay too, right? Like no, you can't have off Easter weekend. Fuck no. But I can give you like Easter Monday off, like after Easter. Like, will that work for you? Like, can you rearrange? Like, can you meet me in the middle? And that's something that we work to with our teams. But like with that, like, they're not talking shit, and that customer service is better, and then hopefully you get the good reviews, and But yeah, I mean we're not perfect, man. But I think, it's the heart of service, and it's the heart of like the action of where you're going and what you're doing. Like it's got to be intentional. Like if you as a leader or your leaders truly don't care, it'll show up everywhere, including the reviews. So I think, you know, this is so cliche and dumb shit, but like we serve food, but like we're in the people business, man. Like we're in the people business. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
we serve it. We get there through food. You can see us through food, but you know, even at Dank Burrito, man, like we keep the same like principles and kind of ethos everywhere. Like if there's like a mom with like a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old on her hip, and like I want my dudes like running to the door to hold that bitch. Like if
Right.
she needs help getting a baby seat to the table, like you better help her get a baby seat. Like anything you can do to help that mom, like
Right.
make her experience better. And literally in those moments, I don't give a shit about the money. It's about helping the mom. Like she needs help. You know what I mean? Like she needs help. Like
Well,
whatever.
if you do the right things, the money comes.
That's right.
So
You know, Pete, I was talking about Pete at Circa earlier. Like, you know, we have a lot of elderly folks that come through Circa. We just do. I think the small plates appeal to them because we're a small plate restaurant. And I mean, half the damn time Pete's in the parking lot, like walking them to their cars, just making sure they don't fall. Right? Like we've had the last 6 weeks, we've had a couple of our regulars kind of aging out to the point where they have fallen a couple times, not in the restaurant, but at home. And, you know, it sucks. So, you know, he just makes sure that the lady, they get into the car. We got a couple like weird little stairs going into Circa. And if you miss one, then you can take a fall when you're 80 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just about
Absolutely.
that. Like it's about really kind of caring about the customer and all that stuff online. It takes care of itself, man. I mean, I don't give it a whole lot of weight, but like if you start seeing patterns,
So still use it as a tool.
we use it as a tool.
Yeah.
You know, and we also use it to also when we do get a lot. I mean, we'll get our nicks and stuff every now and then, but we also use it as a tool to like really highlight and celebrate the team. So we have a private like 81 Hospitality Facebook page. So like we'll post and share because a lot of times customers will call everyone out by name. You know, Sarah at Social Q really helped me make some really great menu choices. She was awesome. Thank you so much. Boom, we'll post it on the 81 Hospitality site. We'll send it to, like we make a big deal about it because it is a big deal.
It is.
You know, especially when they get called out by name, and it's really really cool because it takes those long hot ass days and kind of puts a bow on it for you. Like this makes it worth it. You know, like damn, like you know, it's they do see me, they do hear me.
A pat on the back goes a long ways.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a thank you, and you know, I get all the time texts come through. Man, we just got social cue. This shit was bomb. Or Dank Burrito just catered my daughter's soccer team's, you know, end of year party, and man, like the kids tore it up. It was so great. Thank you. You know?
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that's the nugget. Like golf. I suck at golf, but that one good hit keeps you coming back, right? Like,
Right.
you know, you just shoot shitty all day. My son plays golf, but I always tell people all I need is a driver. Pick any wedge because I hit them all the same and a putter.
Right.
And I call them gardening tools. You got to have a landscaper follow me because, you know, I'm digging ruts and divots the size of craters. And I suck at golf, but that one good damn drive that you just crush, you're like, all right, that felt good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, keeps coming back. Like, you know, in the days where you're just busy and all of that, like, you're just like, man, that one thank you, or that good review, or that, you know, makes it worth it. So
It does. Well, I think I could talk to you all day.
we could.
But we'll probably have to do another episode at some other point, talk a little bit more deeper and some other things. But
Sure.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
I do. You're an inspiration to me.
That's kind.
You know, my in-laws, you know, I've introduced you to them. They own restaurants in New Bern, which you're an inspiration to them. They talk very highly of you, and it's been great getting to know you and talk to you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk today.
Yeah, man. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Yeah, man. Have a good day.
Yep.